and you are on the lifeboat. Let me get this thing squared away here. All right, let's get this show underway. Obviously, since you didn't see a cool intro, I am doing this old school. Let's see here. So, Arizona Raven, good to see ya. No, that's not you. That's Miss Hermit Hill, Kentucky. Good to see you. James Brown, loved the post today. James, good stuff. So let me get over here. There I am. All right, almost ready. Oops. Yeah. Go ahead, insert your favorite technical Tommy joke here, but I am doing it old school. Seven Son, good to see you. Flamin' Jackson, I'm glad you're here. Stacy Michaels. Miss V, how are you? Good to see you. There's Arizona Raven. All right, everybody. Mark is going to be spending the night with his son, which is cool. His son doesn't get over often enough, so he's going to spend a little time with his family, which is awesome. And I am going to be doing this old school. Truth, good to see you. Hey, I was about to call you brother. Lord Kissfree, good to see you. C.W. Terry, glad you're here. People, let's go over the rules. I know you all know them, but just in case anybody new pops up here, or Cemetery, I'm glad you're here, or by some chance someone sees this at a later date, they're going to know what the rules are. First off, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube, and nothing that I say is going to take the place of what a medical professional can tell you, right? Because nothing takes the place of anything that a medical professional can tell you. That's why they went to school so long, right? They take care of all that stuff. So that's taken care of. I am definitely not trying to represent myself here as a doctor. Then we have some rules, and the rules go like this. We're not going to discuss politics. I know I did last night, but I didn't jump on one side of the aisle or the other. I just discussed how politics can set you off, right? So we could talk about politics in that form, but we're not going to say, you know, you're dumb because you're a Republican or you're dumb because you're a Democrat or any of that stuff. It doesn't fly. We are not a religious channel. It's okay to talk about your spirituality, your religion, or anything like that. What it's not okay to do is to say that your God is better than someone else's God, or you believe that, you know, whatever. This is why you're not going to heaven. That kind of conversation doesn't fly here. We don't like that. We'd like to keep cursing out of the comment section. Every once in a while, something sneaks in there, but you know, let's just exercise some decorum here in the comment section. Leisure Beast, glad you're here. Also, lastly, there's no place for mean people here. We talk about subject matter that is very important to people. What do they call a doctor that graduates at the bottom of his class? I don't know the answer to that, Arizona Raven. Wait a sec, is it a dentist? If it's not, it should be. That would be a good joke. Yeah, mean people, there's no room for them here. Arizona Raven, you didn't give us the punchline. Doctor, yeah, true story, right? A proctologist. You know what? There are people that just choose that. You know, you go through all that school and say, I want to stare at, well, you know. Anyway, doctor. Last night, I got some feedback from last night, and the thing that I think came across last night that was somewhat incredible to a lot of people that maybe don't hang out here an awful lot was just the fact that there was some political talk here last night, and there was no arguing. There was nobody here. You know, everybody sort of put out their their opinions on things, and there was none of the usual vitriol that often rears its head when people start to discuss politics. And that's a testament to all of you. It really is. You know, the lifeboat crew are good to one another. It's the thing that impresses me the most about you guys is how you treat one another. It's nothing shy of a miracle. It really is. Especially in this day and age where it just seems like it's impossible to disagree with somebody without it becoming a really ugly thing. If the camera is jumping at all, people, it's because Squirrel, although she is sitting and trying to be a good kitty, she's also vigorously cleaning herself, and it's actually moving the tripod all around a little bit. If you saw the thumbnail then you probably saw that what we're going to be talking about today is positive and negative, and how you make the choice. And we've talked about this many times, but this is going to be a slightly different angle on all that. But before I do that, I think it would only be appropriate if everybody on the lifeboat joins in with me real briefly. And I'll apologize in advance for the fact that I'm no Frank Sinatra, but I believe it's Jesse's birthday today. So actually, you know what? If I sing happy birthday, they're going to, believe it or not, people, they will knock this video. I could do the, you say it's your birthday. That's about as far as I could get through that song without them saying that I'm infringing on a trademark or anything else. We don't need those strikes, but happy birthday, James. Is vital part of the crew here on the lifeboat. Happy birthday from captain and crew. We're glad that you're here. We really are. You're a good guy and one of the most positive people. It's appropriate, I think, that we're talking about positive and negative, and you make the choice because you remain very, very positive. The things that you post on a regular basis in the over on the group chat for the Lifeboat group page is it's incredible stuff. It really is. Today's was awesome. So in line with all of the things that we've been talking about. But happy birthday, brother. Glad that you're here to celebrate with us. I'm glad we're here to celebrate with you. So positive versus negative. We've talked about this a lot, people. It comes up again and again and again, and it always will, because it makes it's such the backbone of trying to stay sober. Now, no one is going to be happy all of the time. And if you think that becoming sober is going to make you happy 24/7 all of the time, hey, Trish Gillian, good to see you. Then you're being foolish. Quitting drugs and alcohol doesn't make you happy all the time. It makes you sober all the time. And then the responsibility to be happy or not lies with you. We've used the term white knuckle. We've used the term dry drunk, right? All of these terms are used a lot in sobriety. And you can remain sober and be miserable. It happens. Ooh, sorry. Chair's a little loud. It happens. In fact, it happens quite often. There are a lot of people who manage to put their substance behind them, but then they're never happy again. People, it is a choice. Happiness is a choice. And I know maybe that sounds crazy, but the way that you live a happy life is choosing to be positive. And I think that we cloud this occasionally by saying that it's a choice to be happy. It's a choice to be positive. It's a different thing than being happy. It really is. There are going to be times in life. Charlie Murphy, good to see you. Charlie, it's James's birthday. Just thought I'd tell you that. There are going to be times in life where you're not happy. You can still remain positive. Hey, Swiss Vape, good to see you, bud. Had a great talk with the vape man yesterday. Great guy, really a good dude. Fighting the good fight. Doing it right. I'm super proud of you, vape. I really am. So there are days that we're going to be unhappy. It's part of life. There are things that are going to come up that are going to make you unhappy. It is possible to remain positive while being unhappy. It is also possible to be negative even in the best of situations. And we all know people like that. They're the kind of person that if you handed them $1 million, they'd go, man, this has got to weigh 30 or 40 pounds. I got to carry this home. Nothing is ever good enough to make that individual happy. And the choice of positive versus negative is something that you choose, and I've said this before, literally thousands of times a day. Really. I'll give you a perfect example, and this is kind of when this whole subject matter hit me today. It's Saturday here at the Scoville household, and on Saturday I changed the sheets, right, on my bed. There are few things on this planet that are more frustrating than a fitted sheet. You know what I'm talking about. The ones with the little elastic things on them, right? Okay. The fitted sheet is one of the most frustrating things that has ever been invented, because there's no diagram on the thing to give you an idea. I mean, unless you happen to have a California King, or you happen to have something that should make it really obvious. If your bed is this wide and it is that long, but if you have a normal sized bed, it is very easy to not have the correct layout, and to try to put the thing on there in the wrong direction. Today, when I threw the sheet out to make the bed, and I was putting the fitted sheet on, and I have to do it quickly because if not, squirrel will show up and try to tunnel underneath the sheets. And trying to make a bed with squirrel in the room is not an easy thing to do. She's a lot of fun to be around, but not when you're making a bed. So I was trying to hurry, and I laid the sheet out. And amazingly, people, I got it right on the first try. Right, first try. I threw it out. That was the right direction. I put the thing on. All four corners held. There wasn't that one corner that no matter how hard you pushed, it didn't want to go down. Everything was completely smooth. And I stopped for a second and I thought to myself, when was the last time I put on a fitted sheet and it actually worked the first time I tried? And it occurred to me that in the 52 years that I've been on this planet, I don't think I've ever done it right on the first try. And I'm not being funny. I really don't think it has ever worked out the very first try. And I sat there for a second, and it put a smile on my face. Joanna W., good to see you. I started thinking to myself, this is one of those little moments in life. You know, there are things that I allow to drive me crazy. It's a personal thing. Putting on a fitted sheet is one of them. I mean, I admit it. That's one of those things that can just kind of get me off in the wrong direction. And it can sort of start the day negative. It's one of the first things you're doing in the morning. And there are so many things like that that come up during the day. When you put a shirt on, you got a 50-50 chance that you're going to put the label in the back, right? There's only two ways you can get a shirt on. It's either going to be correctly or incorrectly. And anytime I do it and the label's in the front, I end up gritting my teeth. I end up getting angry. Who thinks about how many times you got it right? Have you ever sat there and thought, you know, I haven't done this in probably 5 months where I put a shirt on backwards? No, what we do as human beings is we get angry that time it didn't work. There was a comedian that used to say, the defining characteristic of Americans are that we always concentrate on the bad and the bad only. He said, like the other day, I was eating a pint of ice cream. He said, when I got down to the bottom, there was a really long toenail about this big that somebody had put in the ice cream. He said, you don't sit and think, boy, all of that ice cream was great until I got down to that toenail. No, for the rest of your life, you're just going to concentrate. Now, obviously, what I'm saying is hyperbole, right? It's over the top. But in life, you have to take all of the things that come at you, and you have to take small victories in all of the things. And in doing so, it helps you to stay positive. If you walk outside and it's a nice day and you don't take notice of that, then you've missed an opportunity to remain positive. And here's what happens. If you link positive thoughts together, right? You end up having a good day. You link enough positive thoughts together, you have a good day. If you link enough good days together, you can pull off a good week. Tommy, when I used to make my bed, my cat would jump into the middle of the bed just as the sheet was falling on him. Yeah, she does that too. But then as soon as it starts to fall on her, she freaks out and runs and usually takes half the sheet with her, and she's a handful. So as you start linking these things together, people, positive thoughts become positive attitudes. Positive attitudes, done for a long enough period of time, become a personality. You all of a sudden start to develop a positive personality. There's an old cliche that anything you do for 2 weeks becomes a habit. I'm sure that you've heard this. In the drug world, Alan Ballantyne, good to see you, brother. In the drug world, very often anything that you do for a couple of days can become a habit, right? I mean, I know that I can become addicted to things very, very quickly. I have that kind of a personality. It really is an issue for me. But trying to create good things in your life works the same way. And if you start linking positive thoughts together and you start working on things where day after day you are doing everything within your power to remain positive, the next thing you know, you develop a positive attitude, and a positive attitude becomes a positive personality. You ever met those people that no matter what, they're just negative people? You talk to them and there's always just that sort of negative thing going on, and you get that vibe from them, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling to be around people like that. And I think everyone knows people who are like that. And in the world of recovery, it's even worse. Because very oftentimes we feel like, I had a conversation with somebody last week that said the defining characteristic of their life was gone. I said, what? He said, yeah, the defining characteristic of my life is gone. for this individual, and he even articulated it. He was honest about this. He said the defining characteristic of his life is the fact that he does drugs. I guess if you do drugs long enough, maybe that can be your defining characteristic. I know there was a time in my life where if you would ask the people who knew me, not the ones I lied to, but the people who knew who I was, if you would ask them to describe me, I'm sure that drugs would have been one of the things that they talked about very short into the conversation or into the description. They would have mentioned something about me doing drugs. You have to get to a point where each time you have an opportunity to be positive or negative, you choose positive. You know, I remember certain situations in my life where we were at the absolute lowest. My father was a very, very funny guy. Papa Scoville was one of the funniest people ever. And when his dad died, it was, I rode from where we lived in Vermont all the way out to New York for the funeral. It was a very, very long drive. And it was a bonding trip, but it was not a particularly happy one. He had just lost his dad. And now, hindsight being 2020, I know what he was going through because I've lost my father. And it's one of the most painful things in the world. For me, it was one of the most painful things in the world. And I remember the funeral, and it was heart-wrenching. It was just a very, very sad occasion. And as the funeral was ending, my father said they were getting ready to leave from the funeral to go to the gravesite, right? And my dad said, on the bright side, Dad won't be driving this because his father was one of the all-time worst drivers ever. And there was this moment of levity where everybody started to laugh and we got a chuckle out of it. And, when in the midst of things going on that are bad, you can choose to be positive while hurting. You can choose humor while you're in pain. These are all things that will fundamentally change the person that you are. It is a very, very easy thing to become angry and jaded in your sobriety. And if you do, you're not going to make it. You're not. Sobriety is not supposed to be torture. The idea is not, so I spent 10 years or 15 years or 5 years or whatever, how long you were in there. I spent this much time doing drugs. Now what I need to do is be in pain for the rest of my life. I need to pay for this by being miserable. That's not the way it works. Yes, seventh, I'm a cat lady, but I have 4 dogs and a tortoise also. Getting more chicks soon. Yeah, it sounds like the menagerie, right? Like how many animals do you have there? There's something to be said, when I got the cabin cat, when I first went out and got Squirrel. Squirrel's a handful. She's a kitten, and kittens are active, right? She's a very active cat. And we joked, before I got the cat, we had a little discussion about what the cat should be named. And it was really funny that everybody thought Squirrel would be a good name, and she came pre-named Squirrel. The other thing that everybody was talking about was because of the whole parrot on the shoulder kind of a thing from a pirate, that a shoulder kitty would be great. People, be careful what you wish for. Squirrel is a shoulder kitty. She is. Squirrel spends a unbelievable amount of time on my shoulder. The problem with a shoulder kitty is they decide to climb onto your shoulder, usually without telling you. I don't get the, hey, Tommy, I think I'm going to climb up your back to get on your shoulder at this point. And very oftentimes, it's just a matter of Squirrel flinging herself at me, grabbing onto my back with all 4 claws, and then climbing up there. Squirrel, yes, Squirrel is the lifeboat mascot. There is no doubt. And probably, there's something to be learned. The reason that I brought Squirrel up is because the amount of positivity that you get from a relationship with an animal can be amazing. Anything that you can do. The joy that I take in this cat is amazing. And, I spend a decent amount of time training this kitty. There are people who say cats can't be trained. Mine is amazingly trained. If I say the T word, the one that you use to, like TREAT, if I say that word, the cat will run to a specific place and jump up onto a pedestal and wait, because she knows that when I say that, that's the only place I'm going to give him to her. And I've got her, completely trained to do different things. I'm sure you people have seen the videos of her fetching. She has gotten to the point now where she will fetch almost anything and bring it back until you're tired of doing it. But she's been a very positive influence on my life. The adverse could be said. You can, every single situation that you come up on in life, you're going to make a choice whether or not you want to be positive or whether or not you want to be negative. I could complain about the fact that I got a clean kitty litter. I could complain about the fact that my back has got a lot of scratches on them, or the fact that she is very much nocturnal. Torties are special. They will attach to you. You are hers, and she is training you. You're not the first person to say that. Right? She's talking to other cats through the window, right? Saying, I got him trained, right? All I got to do is jump on that pedestal, and he'll go get that little bag of things and dump some out for me. That's really, really funny. But no, there is a bonding that has taken place there. But virtually in everything that happens, the gentleman that... there's a motivational speaker, probably the most famous motivational speaker certainly of our time, maybe ever, is Tony Robbins. And you've probably, if you don't know his work, you've probably seen him in some movies, and there are references made to him all the time. But he's written a lot of books, and he is probably the most famous public speaker in America, does motivational stuff. But he tells a story of, you take two different rooms, and they've... guys walking by and looking, and there are rooms that are literally filled with horse species. And there's two guys in the first room, and they're shoveling to empty the room of all of this manure, this horse stuff, and complaining with every shovelful about the smell and the fact that it's disgusting work, and they're just basically wallowing in the fact that what they're doing is just really foul and disgusting. And as you walk by the second room, there are two kids in there, and they're singing songs and jumping up and down and playing and, flinging this stuff outside with a shovel. And when questioned, the guy said, boy, you don't seem at all to be unhappy about this. And the kid goes, are you kidding? With all of this horse manure around here, there's got to be a pony somewhere. The way that we look at life, the way that we choose to view every single thing that happens is going to determine whether or not you stay sober. I promise you. In the last 4 or 5 days, I have been contacted by no less than 6 people on this boat who were going through crisis, and they reached out for some help. The difference between some of you and others is astounding. And those of you whose attitude was positive, then it's a very easy thing to talk somebody back onto the path of sobriety. When someone starts to feel like they're about to make a mistake, it's very easy to reason with somebody if their launching point is being positive. But if your launching point, if your point of focus, if everything you're doing is the negative side of it, there's not much I can do to help, or anybody else for that matter. I'm no guru. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of those things. I'm just somebody that has been there and done that, and I care enough to be willing to talk to people who are in crisis, people who are on the verge of using. Those are people that I'm willing to talk to. So when you get them on the phone and you start talking, it's really evident very quickly whether or not I can help, and it's always 100% of the time based on attitude. Now, someone in crisis is despondent, always, right? I'll give you a perfect example because I know that he wouldn't care. Last night I talked to Swiss Vape, right? And you guys a lot of you have been chatting with him in the group chat. So from what I understand, I wasn't there, but I know that he was over there. And what I'm having a hard time right now. Besides, I'm getting sober from alcohol. Today is Memorial Day. My beloved cat. Bodie was a cat soul and beyond. 25 pounds, my goodness. Got run over by a car. Terrible day. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. But last night, while talking to Swiss Vaber on the phone, as he just said, he's going through it. He's giving up alcohol, and the amount of alcohol that that Swiss was consuming is borderline incredible. You know what I mean? When you talk to people and their beverage of choice for alcohol is beers, you get things where people say, I was drinking 2 pints a day, or I was drinking 6 beers or a 12 pack, right? These are our points of reference. Swiss Vapor said, I was drinking in excess of a gallon of beer a day. And then on top of that, he was drinking hard booze. So when you've been going that hard on alcohol, when it comes time to quit, there are some very, very serious physical things that will happen to you. Now, by the time I spoke to Swiss, he had several weeks under his belt. I can't imagine what the first few days were like. And he, as we were talking about it last night, he said that, during that first 72 hours, the first 4 days, somewhere in there, he was also, he thinks, suffering from C plus math, right? And he started to describe some of the symptoms that he was going through. People, I'll be honest with you, same thing I told him last night. I don't think you had the C plus math. The everything that he was describing was more in tune with acute alcohol withdrawal. Like he was going through, the delirium tremens and the rest of it. Yeah, you know what? Right now, Truth was saying that, just some encouraging words to stay strong for Swiss Vape. Swiss, I know today is going to be a bad day, especially on the anniversary of the cat, but you've been doing amazing, really, and it's worth taking note that people. Again, I don't like coming on here and talking about things that I talk to people about in private, in a private setting. Because everyone is entitled to that level of Pam. Good to see you. To that level of privacy. You don't want your stuff put out to the world, but I will bring things up if they've already been brought up in the comment section. So Swiss Vape has been very very vocal about all of the different substances that he's eliminated from his life. This is not. Alcohol is not the first thing he's given up, right? So there has been a long litany of things that he's been working on, and he's also been very open about the fact that he has Asperger's syndrome, which is something that makes this entire process a little bit more difficult. I'm not saying this for any other reason than to tell you that this is one of the most positive people you're ever going to come across. Truthfully, last night, in the midst of a very, very bad situation, right? Physical withdrawals, the mental, anguish that comes with this. He's not sleeping. All of the normal stuff that you would expect to be going through after quitting that heavy an alcohol habit. While all of this was going on, he told me a story about his daughter, and throughout the entire conversation, at no point did he complain. He was very matter of fact. This is what's going on. My heart is racing like this, and I'm sweating so bad that literally it's like taking a shower, and you can clean yourself off, get in the shower, and 5 minutes later you're just soaking wet and sweat again. But it wasn't the woe is me. He wasn't hanging his head. He wasn't complaining. He was stating fact and saying that he was in a tough place. But it was very analytical, and the attitude that he took into this is something that is inspiring. It really is. And I think the reason that I'm crying so hard, Captain, you know what? It's not a bad thing. For those of you who believe in a higher power, it has been said that tears are the telescopes through which men view God. And if you're not someone that believes in God, then you can just believe in the cleansing power of tears, because they have an amazing effect. We talked about it a bit last night when we were all, visiting with Sid. And continued prayers, please, for Sid. He needs our thoughts and prayers. But yeah, feels good, he says. Yeah, absolutely it does. There's something to be said for letting the dam break and letting all of that out. This is something You're probably will get tired of hearing me say it, and I'm never going to get tired of saying it. There has never been a counselor, a psychiatrist, or anyone else on the planet that said, hold that in, you'll be way better off. Whatever you do, don't talk about it, because you'll be way better off if you just bottle all of those emotions up. You're always better off, people, if you let it out. And that's, by the way, that goes in every direction. There is nothing wrong with being angry. Bottling anger up is a bad thing. To say to somebody you care about, hey, you know what? I'm angered. This is why, is a much healthier thing. Hey, Kathy, good to see you. Aloha. Letting it out. Saying to somebody, you made me mad. Here's why you made me mad. I'm angry right now. Here's why I'm angry. You're going to be way better off. And I'll tell you something. It all comes back and it all dovetails to what we're talking about. You want to carry a positive attitude? Then you can't have in the trunk something that's making you angry. Everyone has had that day. You ever try to go out and be normal while something just absolutely frosted your tips in the morning? You got something that just, really, really made you mad at, say, 8 a.m. And for the rest of the day, as you're doing what you're doing, you're at work, whatever, and in the back of your head, every fifth thought is, man, I can't believe that person did that. Or, I should have said that. And you just fester. And it continues to go, right? Nothing will make the ants go wild like bottled up emotion, right? Ants are caused by bottled up emotion. And if you're new to the boat, ANTS is an acronym for automatic negative thoughts. When I had the shakes from alcohol, I dumped 450 milligram Fireball shots in a solo cup. Oh, yeah, tough. And you know what? There are times, people, where there's no other option. The individuals who started Alcoholics Anonymous, if you ever read any of the literature from the early days, if you listen to the stories that they tell from the early days, they would keep a half a gallon of gin underneath the sink, so that when guys came in who literally were in danger from the DTs, from the delirium tremens. People, the DTs can kill you. We've talked about this. So when somebody would come in and they would be that bad off, they would pour that person 4 or 5 shots. And this is one of those things that no matter how many times I've read it, and it comes up again and again in all of the different literature, but it is just so impressive to me that their focus was so strong. They were so myopic, so focused on getting people well, that they were able to take gin, right? They were able to take their drug of choice, pour it in a cup, and hand it to somebody without taking any themselves. And they said in there that you can't have a conversation with somebody who's going through the DTs. You can't help somebody if they're in acute alcohol withdrawal. Their life is in danger. And the trade-off for these people for going in and getting that glass of gin was you were going to hear them tell you about the 12 steps that they had come up with, and about the concept of getting sober, and what all that entailed, and the fact that it was possible. And it's nothing shy of amazing. And again, people, it always dovetails back to the same thing. Do you realize the attitude that you have to be able to do that? I mean, these are not guys that sit around and go, man, I'm sober, I gotta be handing this dude a thing of gin. These were people that just said, you know what? This stuff used to kill me, right? This stuff had my number here. I know where you're going through. Take that, and then I'd like to talk to you. That's virtually amazing. It really is. And as I said last night, I spent a good long time on the phone with Swiss. And it was a pretty amazing conversation. He has a daughter whose birthday just came up, and if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that she was 7. If I'm wrong, I think the vape will probably if you're talking about going cold turkey with no one around, it is a very scary proposition. It really is. If you live alone, people, to anybody that's listening on the boat, or someone that's going to hear this video a year from now or anything else, You got a fit the day habit, you live alone and you think you're going to cold turkey it. Talk to a doctor. Seriously, talk to a medical professional about being stepped off of the substance. What they can do is give you benzos to wean you off of the alcohol, because a benzo will do the same thing. It will keep you from going into the delirium tremens, and it will keep you from dying. But don't quit cold turkey on alcohol alone. Please don't do that. I would like to say that I'm finally clean. It's taken me a couple of weeks, but thanks to a friend that I am living with who helped me get clean and stay clean. Wow. To your friend, right? To you as well, God bless. But what a friend, huh? That's what a friend is, for real. I'm so glad to hear that. I remember reaching out to you, and yeah, it seems like it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Reached out to you. Your info was given to me by I Am the Noise Opera. So you've been in our thoughts. I'm so happy to hear that. Congratulations. That is absolutely awesome. Really fantastic. That's a long time too. That proves that it can be done, and that proves that you can continue on this road. And I promise you, anybody here who's done this can tell you it's going to get better, it's going to get easier, and it's going to get more fun. You're going to get to the point where life is fantastic without it. Now, I'm sorry, people, I had to squirrel on that one because that's just too good to pass up. I saw that come up on the screen. But the crazy uncle, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. His 7-year-old daughter just celebrated her birthday. And, there's an expression from the mouth of babes, right? Comes wisdom. Every once in a while, a child will say something and it just sort of floors you. Well, his daughter actually, basically took him aside and said, you know what? I know you're suffering. Can you imagine? Again, Mark talks about it all the time. We tend to think that, when we're in our cycle of use and abuse and addiction, that we're the people that know everything that's going on, but no one else seems to. But his daughter was well aware of the fact that Dad's suffering, but voiced support and said that, you know what, I know that you're suffering and I know that you're hurting, but you can do this. You don't need alcohol. You don't need that stuff. Can you imagine? It was very, very emotional stuff to hear him say that last night. But again, to share this in the throes of what he's going through says a great deal about the attitude that he's carrying through this entire process. And it's what's going to get him to the finish line, right? You know what the finish line is? It's base camp. It's base camp. We just got a great message that said, I'm finally clean because of somebody that I lived with who's helping me get clean and sober. I now have 2 weeks of sobriety. You are at the base camp. It's not the finish line. The finish line, right, is when they close the box and you never got addicted again. Base camp is when you get sober. At that point, when all of the chemicals and all of the alcohol and everything is out of your life, then you can start living. So, when they climb Mount Everest, they climb for days to get to that one spot where they're going to set up base camp and they're going to get ready for the big climb that is life. I've always viewed sobriety that way, right? It's about living your best life. And you're going to get to that base by getting sober. When drugs and alcohol are no longer a part of your life, then you can start that climb, right? Now you can start to live your life and design it into whatever you want. And I know that people, it sounds like a cliche when people say that, right? It really does. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and as most of you know, I wasn't able to go back to school to do the master's program because of my felony conviction. At the last minute, the school pulled the plug and said that because of what I had been convicted of, they did not want me. Hey, you do not have to apologize for not getting back to me. How fast was that, huh? That's a response. No, congratulations. You don't have to. You were in the throes of it. You know who I'm talking to. But I wasn't going to school. It's one of those things that came up. And people, you remember the video when I came on and said, I was excited. I had the thing that said, "You're going to school" on my refrigerator, like I was, like I was a freshman in college, and this was my senior year in high school. "You have been accepted to our university." Like I put it up there with a magnet, and I bought the books and all of these things. I got prepared to go to school. And then the counselor emailed me and said, "Congratulations, I will be your counselor. If you have any questions about your degree, blah, blah, blah." All of this took place. So you remember the video where I came and said, "Man, I'm supposed to start school next Monday." And they just pulled the rug out from underneath me, and they waited so long that I couldn't apply to another school. They kind of screwed me out of going to school that semester. And at the time, it was very difficult to maintain a positive attitude through that. During the same period of time, somebody else had reached out and said, "You're not allowed to do this because you're a felon. And then you're not allowed to do that because you're a felon." And it seemed like the world was never going to let me forget the things that I had done in my past. And I was becoming despondent. I really was. The one thing that I would say didn't leave me was my faith. And this is something that, I prayed a lot about because, I felt like I'm doing everything right and the doors are slamming, right? Like I almost felt like it was easier when I was getting high. Like when I was breaking the law and doing everything wrong, there was nobody telling me I couldn't do something. But now that I was sober and trying to do everything right, it was like every door that I tried to go through kept getting slammed. And because of that, I started to do some other things. And one of the things that, you all know that I was doing was I started, going out and buying and selling watches. And, now people, that's really becoming it's how I make a living. Like this is becoming my vocation. And it is something that has blossomed into something far larger than it was. And, it's going to the next level. This is really, I'm now a watch broker. And the only reason that I'm telling you this is because I was on the phone with somebody yesterday who said to me, "Man, this is so cool." And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "Do you have any idea how many times where we'd be sitting and waiting for the dope man to deliver drugs, or we'd be, driving to go do something, but just the two of us hanging out?" He said, "The number of times that you said to me, if I could do it all over again, I would probably do something with watches, because it's just my biggest passion is, old vintage timepieces. If I could do it all over again, I would make my living having something to do with watches." And it is one of those phrases that I uttered I don't know how many times. I said it constantly. But instead of doing anything about it, I just continued to get high. And you know what? I'm not a young man. I'm not a young man at all. But I'm now, in my 50s. And I'm literally doing, if they said you could do anything you want in life, this is what I would have chosen. Plain and simple. And I'm not saying this isn't a brag thing, people. What this is to tell you that when you get sober, a couple of things happen. If you remain positive, every time a door shuts, another one's going to open. And if you're negative, right? Negative people walk around with their head down, right? In life, metaphorically, in every way, you sort of do this number, right? Things don't go right, you kind of hang your head. It's human nature, am I right? Well, what happens when you hang your head? A door can open and you won't even see it. You have to look. You have to look at the positive side. You have to continue to constantly be positive as opposed to negative. And what will happen is you will have an opportunity to shape your life into whatever you want it to be. This is not rah, 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 Tony Robbins stuff. It's a fact. It's a stone cold fact. You're not going to get where you want to get to in life if you're getting high every day. That's a fact. That is the linchpin for everything. We talked about it yesterday. No matter what it is you want to do in life, there is one thing that will blow that. You want to be a good dad or a good mom? What can blow that? You want to be happy doing what you do? What can blow that? You want to be a good partner to the person that you love? What's going to screw that up? You want to have a relationship with your higher power? Right? You want to have a strong spiritual connection to whatever you believe in? What's going to screw that up for you? I promise you, people, it doesn't matter what it comes down to. The linchpin, the thing that can either make it or destroy it is always alcohol. Hold on. when I started paying attention to my posture when I walk, I started to feel a lot more confident. It's crazy how something as simple as as posture can affect your mindset. No, you know what? You're absolutely right. I did a video on this. I did in fact, I might have done more than one video on this, but it's been a while. It's probably something that I'm due to do again. Hey, T. Prada, good to see you. People, if in a 20-second version of this, when you're sitting in your chair tonight, right? And I swear to you, I almost never sit. Even when I'm working on watches or doing whatever, I squat or whatever, I can't stand sitting. It's just, but when you sit down, as you're sitting and watching me right now, if you go like this and you roll your shoulders forward and you just sort of assume that bad posture, one of the things that happens is, right, this entire area from, clavicular all the way down, it shrinks. And in doing so, you're not getting deep breaths of oxygen into your body. And when you're not getting a full lung full of oxygen, you're just living differently. But it's a great comment. Practice it for a day. Stick your chin up, right? Roll your chest out a little bit. Put your shoulders back. Walk with a good, solid, erect posture. And not only will it change how you feel, because it will also dramatically change how the world views you. Seriously. And people go, it's not fair how people... You're right, it's not. It's not fair that people judge you by what you look like. It's not. But it's a fact. I promise you. There was a time in my life, people, where I was making really good money. And I remember going into a car dealership with the intent to buy a car. And it was a nice car. But when I walked onto the lot, it was a weekend. And I had on a Grateful Dead tie-dyed t-shirt. And I was wearing Teva sandals. And I didn't look the part. And when I walked up, I said, I'd be interested in test driving that right there. And he said to me, we don't do test drives. I said, you don't let people drive the cars before they buy them? You don't do test drives. He's like, no, we don't do test drives. And I started to walk and I got outside and my first wife said to me, he's saying that because of how you dressed. I'm like, you really believe that? She's like, absolutely. So I remember going back in. And I didn't go back in immediately. I went back in dressed to the nines. I shaved, I put on a shirt, I put on a tie, and I walked in and I said, hey, I'd be curious to know if I could get that for a test drive. He goes, give me 2 seconds, I'll go and get the keys. It's not fair, but it's the truth. Now, that's an extreme deal, right? But no matter what you're wearing, no matter how you're looking, if you walk around like this, right, what does it tell the world? I'm beat, right? I've given up. I'm whooped. Who wants to spend time with someone if they look like the world has just kicked the crap out of them? If they look miserable? Honestly. And I'll tell you something else. When you get a lung full of oxygen, you tend to project your voice a little more. And from a guy that's done a lot of public speaking, if you talk like this and you look down, nobody looks at you. I'm not saying you got to scream at people. But you certainly have to enunciate and you have to talk. The pursuit of happiness is the chase of a lifetime. It is never too late to become what you might have been. Wow. Seventh son. You know something? You sure that wasn't Jacob Forrester? Because that sounds like something Jacob would have said. Seventh son, that is an awesome comment. People, I hope you caught that. That's worthy of a repeat. If I did Tommy's picks, this would be a pick. The pursuit of happiness is the chase of a lifetime. It is never too late to become what you might have been. Boy, that's cool. And I'll tell you something, people. I feel like that. I feel like I literally am living my dream. And not just from the standpoint of how I'm making a living. Very cool. Doing what I want to do. That's awesome. This is a very big deal to me. It is. And people, I'm never going to get rich doing YouTube. And you know what? I don't care. I'm helping people. I really am. Not because I'm a wizard or a guru or anything else, but because I'm coming here every night. And in doing so, I have assembled a group of people that at the end of these videos, they do what I ask them to do, right? One thing. I say, reach out and try to save somebody, right? And you people do. Another great one, people. So last night, as I said, I had a long conversation with the Swiss Vape. And as I said, he was going through it. Do you know how many of you reached out to me and told me that I need to get a hold of Swiss Vapor and talk to him? Seriously, take a guess how many people hit me up to tell me that. 5. 5 people on the boat either direct messaged me, text messaged me, emailed me. 5 of you to say, you know what, Captain, I think you need to talk to Swiss Vape. Happiness is all about what you want to remember from each day as well. Good and bad things happen every day, and it all depends on what you focus on and what you decide to remember. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You can focus on the minutia, whether it's good or bad. You can absolutely focus in on the best things of every day and catalog them, or you can sit and dwell on the bad ones. And it's astounding how often individuals will take one thing that happens to them on a Monday, and it'll destroy an entire week. Seriously. There are people that hold on to things for such a long period of time that the smallest thing can destroy a week for them. It's a decision. It's an absolute decision. There was a time in my life where them saying to me, you're not going to college here because you're a convicted bank robber, would have been enough to cause me to relapse. I guarantee it. There was a time in my life where I was looking. Reframing is more than half the battle. You're absolutely right. How you choose to look at things. There was a period of time in my life where I promised that would have been enough. Because there was a period of time in my life where I was looking for the excuse to relapse. All I needed was a good one, right? All I needed was a good one. And that was a good one, right? People would understand, right? I mean, I was so excited. I was completely vested in this. This is what I was going to do. I was going to go out and I was going to get my master's, and this was going to be something that I was going to bring to the boat, and this was going to be a very, very big deal. Perfect excuse. I mean, if you're looking for one, that was a good enough reason, right? And there was a time in my life where that would have done it. I promise you. But instead, it was the best thing that has happened to me in a very long time. Selenite Sky. Hi, all. So much truth is being spoken here. Thank you. I needed to hear that tonight. Wow, what a cool thing to say. Thank you so much. I do not believe I have ever had the opportunity to welcome you to the boat. Welcome. If I've missed you before and you've been here, I apologize, but welcome to the lifeboat. You will never come across a better crew of people anywhere. Truthfully, this is a great group of people. Tommy, you have helped me so much that you won't know. And I can't express it. Wow, what a cool thing to say. Your videos touch people that you will never hear from. Now and in the future. You know what, Truth? That's such a cool thing to say. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. That's such a cool thing to say. I mean it. I needed that. That's nice. Thanks, guys. And I'm having a ball. I really am. I love this. I love this boat. Stacy Michaels, Miss V, Joanna, thank you guys. You all are too. Being here with you guys is always the highlight of my day. Very cool. And you know what, people? That's my gift to the sobriety community is organizing the greatest sober party in history. It's the way I look at it, right? It's not my presentation, and it's not my speeches or my my view on this or my view on that. It's the fact that I threw a party that brought the right people together, right? I threw the greatest sober party in history, and the people that have showed up here are nothing shy of amazing. You know what? I got to do this, people. Go ahead, insert your favorite Homer Simpson glasses joke here, but selenite sky. I believe I said that right. I hope so. Selenite sky. I'm very happy that you're here, and I'm glad that everybody is saying hello and introducing themselves. You will find that this is not like other channels, and again, not because of me. This is no brag. Oh, it is a brag. It's 100% a brag. But I'm bragging about my crew. The crew here are truthfully second to none. Great emojis, Lord Kiss Freak. The beauty within the hull of this boat is so strong that it's like the glue that holds it together. You know what? True story. I don't know, honestly, to those of you, I've said this before, to those of you who have been here since the days of the Tommy Scoville show, and to those of you who just arrived, just thank you, for real. Thank you for all that you do to help every single person that needs it. It's an amazing thing, and just the kindness and the compassion that this boat exhibits every single day. There's never been a stranger on the lifeboat. When people show up here, the people really go out of their way to welcome them, and they go out of their way to help them. Like the people that reached out to me yesterday and said, "Hey, man, get the vape on the phone, right? You need to talk to the vape now, right? You gotta reach out to them." And at the time, people, I don't want to get into the excruciating details, but let us suffice to say that I was in a place that I wasn't allowed to have a phone. And if you know who I am, that probably will make sense to you. Will someone please let me out of this, out of the brig one day? Alan Ballantyne. People, you do know, I've probably told you this 40 times already, but Alan has hit his target weight. And of course, Alan Ballantyne, being Alan Ballantyne, he has set a new target weight. He's going to be dropping another 10 pounds. He's going to get down to 190. And why not? When you start north of 300, 190 probably sounded ridiculous, but he set attainable goals, and he just continued to do it. And how? Because he didn't diet. Right? Changed his life. How he did everything. Diets are something that you do for a period of time in hopes of making a change. Changing your life is something that you do that will guarantee a change. And Alan most assuredly has guaranteed a change. So proud of you, Alan. Really, really proud of you. You're going to, the day is coming where Alan is going to come and visit me here in the States. We've talked about it in the past. And I would go there, but oddly enough, seeing how that country was founded, they don't allow people like me into the country. Those of us who have made some mistakes in the past don't have an opportunity to go to Australia. So Alan is going to come and visit me at some point, and when he does, we're going to take one day and eat far too much. I'm going to go do the one of the big buffets that they do here at the casinos. That day, we're going to eat like diets don't exist. But other than that, you're a family member, Truth, and you're missed when you're not here. Amen. Well played, Joanna. By the way, there are 3 of you who are slated for interviews in the very near future. Swiss Vape, you are one of them. Joanna W., we're hoping you are one of them as well. The 3rd member, I don't believe I saw in the comment section today. So I will reach out to them by email. And yeah, but I do want to, we're going to be doing some interviews here coming up. If not this week, I think it will be this week actually. So Joanna W., I have talked to some people, and I know there is a, you had certain requests concerning how you wanted to do that, and that's fine. So we're going to set that up, but looking forward to that. By the way, Alyssa, congratulations, man. Honestly, to 2 weeks, right? Hats off. That's a very impressive thing, especially the first 2, right?
Brandon. Brandon's closing in on 45 days. And I said to him, you know what? 60's right around the corner, brother. You know what he said to me? 60's not enough. He's shooting for 365 days. He wants to get that year under his belt. And like Alan Ballantyne, I'm sure he'll set a new goal when he hits that year mark. People, we're at the top of the hour. And you know what that means? That means two things. Number one, it means the end of the video. And this is the time when I say, I'll be back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad place. And I say that between now and then, you have one assignment. And you know what it is. I want you to reach out and try to save somebody. Alrighty? I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This was the Lifeboat. And as promised, this is a cat in a basket. Oh, did I wake you? Oh, big stretch. Give me one. Say goodnight, squirrel. Huh? Good night, everybody. I'm sorry, kid. I didn't mean to wake you. Who's a good girl? Good night, everybody.